It's time for the Teed Off Podcast. The Front Nine.
All right, guys, kicking off the Front Nine, and we've got a special guest. We've got Jimmy Hanlin, a TV personality, PGA professional, and multiple-time Emmy winner. Jimmy, thank you so much for being on Teed Off with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I could talk golf all day long. I could do a 24-hour podcast if you guys want.
I wish we had the time to do it because I think we'd do it too. Well, let's jump right in on you, Jimmy. I asked all of our guests when they come on the show, what got you into the sport of golf in general?
You know, it's funny, man. So a couple things, really. I started golf really young, right? I honestly probably 4 or 5 years old, maybe even a little younger than that. And crazy enough, myself and a neighbor kid of mine, we built our own golf course. We literally took soup cans and dug them into the holes and made our own holes. And we got our older brothers, this guy's older brother, to mow like the lower the height of the mower and like mow closer to the hole, so we'd have some kind of a green that, you know, we would describe now as the worst green we've ever seen in our entire life. But back then it was Augusta for us, you know. So I really started at a young age, and my parents didn't play golf. My dad played college football. My brother wasn't into it. He was a little young. So I really didn't have anybody around me that played. I just kind of fell in love with it myself. And then my dad worked part-time for the sheriff's department. He worked in the steel, worked in the steel mills, part-time for the sheriff's department. And his partner owned the little public golf course up the road. So I was probably about 7, maybe 8. And he told my dad, hey, drop Jimmy off anytime. He can go putt around a putting green or, you know, do whatever. Dude, I never left. That next day I was there. And man, I mean, I never left the golf course after that. I worked for him from the time I was 8 until I was 18. And anything from picking up tees and fixing ball marks to mowing around trees to doing whatever I could do for free golf. And my dad, if he was here, if he was on here, he'd tell you the story that I would work all year and never get a paycheck. And at the end of the year, he would have a bill that I owed more than I actually made, you know, for the golf course, between buying golf courses, buying golf clubs, and eating food and everything else. So I pretty much worked for free. But yeah, I kind of just fell in love with the game, guys, like on my own. I didn't really have somebody that was pushing me into it. But as you guys probably did growing up, you know, I played everything, right? I played baseball, played basketball, and golf was just a little part of it for me. And so, you know, got out of decided to go to college, and literally, I would say this time of the year, April or May, my senior year, I was going to school to play baseball, and golf wasn't even a thought. And changed my mind last minute, went to Methodist University, which is in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And at that time, there were only 3 schools that had the PGM program where you graduate, you could become a PGA professional. And it had the programming to have that happen. And one was in Michigan, one was in New Mexico, and one was in North Carolina. And I said, I'm going to North Carolina, man. So went to school at Methodist and actually played basketball at Methodist, ended up not playing golf there, played basketball there for 4 years, dabbled in baseball a little bit and played a little bit of golf too. But my golf game got a lot better when I was there. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to Methodist. I know it's not far from you, but the golf facilities there are just awesome. And this was 30 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. So I just practiced and played every day. You know, my basketball coach loved golf, a guy named Brian Chappell that actually lives in Myrtle Beach now. Mm-hmm. So Chappie and I played golf every day. I'd get out of class, play golf, go to basketball practice around 5, and that was my life, you know, and I loved it. Dude, if you could take me back there right now, I'm in. I'll go right back to that all day long. You know, wake up, go to class if you want to, go play golf, go to basketball practice, and then figure out the rest of the night, which I'm pretty good at that too.
Man, well, you were a great athlete growing up then. I mean, because if you were going to go play college baseball somewhere else, changed your mind to pursue a degree in golf and a profession in golf, and ended up dabbling in playing basketball, baseball, and some golf there. So I played everything too, but I wasn't that proficient at everything. But
well, I had the size, right? I mean, you guys know that in the world now, right? I'm 6'4", you know, back then a little trimmer. Of course, so I was probably 6'4", 180, so that's a good size, so right away, no matter what sport that I was looking at, I had some recruiting advantages just because of my size and stuff. So that's where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I was a good pitcher. 6'4" is good for pitching. I wish I was left-handed. I might be still pitching right now. But that was a big part of it for sure. But it was I just love playing everything. I was you call it jack of all trades, master of none, right? I just love to do it all. But honestly, after I got out of college, I went to Pinehurst to take my first job as an assistant professional. And that's when I forgot about everything else and just focused on golf. And that's really where my game really went to the next level, because I'd never done that in my life before. I'd always split it up between basketball and baseball and golf. And at that point, it was like, all right, all those things are over with. We're just going to play golf. So I was playing golf, in between working at Seven Lakes Country Club and in Pinehurst and doing that. So I did that for 2 or 3 years. My game got to a level where the members at this club gave me money and said, dude, it's time for you to go give it a chance to make it for a living, right? And they put this little group together. And so I played for a living after that for about 5 years. They gave me enough money to stay out there and play for about 5 years. And I wouldn't trade it for the world. Unfortunately, I can't beat the Stuart Sinks and the Phil Mickelsons of the world, but I got to travel around the country and play a lot of great places and competitive golf, and my game just got a lot better, and that was fun. And I think that's the weird thing now. I hate to push kids that way, because you hate to see kids just focus on one thing, just like you were just talking about. It's fun to play everything, but the world is, people are specializing now, right? You almost have to at some point to get to the level you need to get to. And I didn't do that, but I wouldn't trade anything for the world. I had a great time.
Well, so how did you transition from, you graduated from Methodist PGM program, started working at Pinehurst, then chased the dream, on trying to make it as a tour player. How did you transition from a competitor to somebody in front of the camera for golf?
Well, that's funny. That was just an accident, honestly. So I played for a living for a while. I was completely out of money, didn't know what the heck I was going to do, and it was teaching pro Pinehurst number 6, Danny Ackerman. Right, he was my swing coach. He got the job in Cleveland at a place called Quail Hollow, and said, hey, why don't you come up for a summer and see what you want to do? Like, you can go back and play again if you want. You can figure out what you want to do. You're 28. You guys know that world. We don't know what we want to do now, let alone then, right?
Yeah.
So I went up to Cleveland and I never left, right? Got here, never left, and worked as an assistant pro for a couple years here. Became the head pro at the place that I currently own here now in Cleveland. And so during that whole time frame, especially when you live in a big market like here in Cleveland, I was asked to do a bunch of interviews on radio just about the new golf course we were building, stuff like that. And then I did some golf tips for the news and stuff like that, the NBC and the CBS affiliates and stuff up here. And at some point, it just kind of started falling into place for me there, like you were talking about. The radio, ESPN Cleveland asked me if I would want to host their show. Never did that in my entire life. Never been on radio or TV before I came to Cleveland. And I said, sure. And so I've been on there I'm going into my 23rd year on ESPN Cleveland Radio. And then the Cleveland Indians at the time were starting their own network. And when they started their own network, they had no program. So they came to me and said, hey, listen, we want to do a golf show. So we started up this show called Tee It Up Ohio, where we went around to all the public golf courses in Ohio and checked them out and played some holes and did that. And then about 3 or 4 years later, Fox Sports bought Sports Time Ohio from the owner of the Indians, Guardians now. And when that happened, everything just kind of blew up for me. And it became, a national show instead of a local show. And it's just been going on for a while, man. I started that in 2000 and probably 7 or 8, so now it's 2024. Natalie Galvis joined me about 8 or 9 years ago. She was looking to do her own show, and she figured out that I could do all the work for her, and she could just show up and have fun and do it. And she's like, I'm in, So Natalie joined me. So, it's crazy. But Natalie and I have been on the air almost 10 years together now, and we just travel around the world and travel around the country and get to see some of the best golf courses in the country and in the world, and have a lot of fun doing it. We've been down to Myrtle multiple times. In fact, we stayed there on property with you guys it was about probably 2-3 years ago, right? AT, we stayed there.
No, it was actually last year. Last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah, it was last year. Yeah. I was out here waiting when the bus pulled up, and he told me to look for a bus, and I didn't realize what I was looking for till it pulled up, and there's Jimmy's smiling face on the side greeting me as they pull up. But that was last May.
Yeah. It was great, and the name of the condo group, is it Ash?
AshWorth.
Yeah, it was. We put you in one of our AshWorth condos.
It was great. I mean, the condos were awesome. A little windy that day. We were trying to fly the drone around to get some good shots of the condos. I think that drone's in the Atlantic Ocean right now. But
ended up getting a good shot. I saw it. So I mean, the episode was great, and appreciate you plugging the AshWorth, and that's going to be our property of the episode. And glad you guys enjoyed it. Yeah, we loved it. I mean, the condos were amazing, just easy to get in and out of, I mean, just to do a golf trip. I mean, I've always been the biggest fan. So when I played for a living, I lived in Myrtle a good bit, right? Because I played the Hooters Tour and the Powerville Tour were the two tours I mainly played, which eventually turned in, I think, into the Tar Heel Tour eventually was the Power. Anyway, but we played there, and so we stayed. Myrtle was very centrally located for us, right? We could get down and play in Florida and Georgia and easy to get to other places. So I lived there a lot. And I saw Myrtle change over that time, and just golf is just awesome there, right? I mean, it's just incredible how it has everything. And listen, I get to see the best places in the world, right? I'm the luckiest human being that is alive, right? I mean, when you're talking golf, I mean, we step onto these properties and people treat us treat me like I'm Tiger, right? Because I'm about to talk about their place. So they're like, all right, we better treat this guy pretty good, right? So, and everybody treats Natalie good. I mean, that's just how the world works. So in Myrtle, just every time we come back, it's just better and better, right? I mean, it really is. And I always say to Myrtle, to people about Myrtle, if you're looking for a golf vacation place, it's like, all right, man, if you want something to do at night and during the day, there's nowhere better in the country, right? There's nowhere better. There's great golf vacation spots, but it's rare to have such great golf courses, such great accommodations, and then have great places at night. There's always, if you got 24 guys, there's always 8 of them looking to find some trouble in the evenings. And there's nowhere better than Myrtle Beach. Not that I know by experience, but it's really good.
I've never found any of those places.
That's the best summation of the golf destination of Myrtle Beach I've heard in a long time, and I really appreciate it. And I agree with it 100%. And there are thousands and thousands of other golf groups that agree with it too. Yeah. We're having another good spring season, and we're glad that the weather is turning springy, and we're going to be welcoming a lot of guys that are going to be doing just what you said here, guys and girls, soon. We cannot wait to have them back again this year.
People ask me their favorite golf course. My favorite golf course in Myrtle, man, I never get it. It changes every time.
Yeah,
right?
There's so many now. And of course, I mean, we've had some courses, that have closed over the years, so it's kind of minimized the product, which has been good. I mean, great for the courses that are here, but there's so many good ones,
And to still have, almost 80 courses. I mean, that's still got to be the highest concentration of courses in the country per the area. So, and like you said, the product's only gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
When we had 120 plus courses, your bookends were definitely bookends. At the bottom was at the bottom, but now there's not a bad track out here.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's crazy. Dunes was my favorite forever, when I was young. And then it's like, oh my gosh, there's 10 golf courses that I like maybe just as much as the Dunes Club there. I mean, it's just so, ones jump out at like Thistle and ones like that you don't even never even really heard of before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the Barefoot group came along with those 4 golf courses, and they're so much fun, right?
Yeah.
So they're just so, and then, everybody knows about Caledonia and True Blue. I mean, there are just so many good.
Let's talk about 18 holes. You went from putting in your backyard into a soup can to now traveling the world, the country with Natalie Gulbis and having your face on a bus. Yeah. I want to talk about the show 18 Holes. If you can describe it for our audience and what you guys are up to this year with the show.
Yeah, so So 18 hole, I do 2 shows that are distributed nationally, and they're distributed on all of the regional sports networks across the country. So if you're watching a baseball game, like you're watching the Yankees in New York, it's on the Yes Network. So my shows are going to pop on there at some point, right? If you're down in Florida watching the Marlins, it's going to be on the Sun Network. That's all Bally Sports now. And then we're also on in Chicago on the Marquee Network, which is not Bally Sports. We're on in Pittsburgh on the AT&T network. So pretty much we're in all 50 states, right? And across the country. And so these shows, I have 2 shows. One's called 18 Holes. I've been doing it with Natalie Golbus for almost a decade now. And we just go to different places and we try to show not just the golf. So we show the golf course very thoroughly, right? So we drone every hole. We play 3 holes. We typically will try to have a celebrity guest with us when we're playing one of the 3 holes that we play, like the signature. But then when we're done, we sit there at the 19th hole with our Tito's vodka and we talk about like just everything else there is to do, right? And sometimes that's different. Like I said, Myrtle Beach, we could shoot 50 shows there because there's so much to do outside of golf. But sometimes it's, we're talking about, when we're in Virginia and we're talking about some cool places to go, just outside the resort to do, or, AT's been with me up at Nemacolin, and all the things there is to do. They keep just adding things. So we just bounce around and we try to make it, we call it a travel destination golf show, but we try to make it almost as much about everything there is to do as it is about the golf, right? And that's fun, right? That's fun. Natalie has her perspective. She obviously loves the spa and the shopping and all that kind of thing. And so we try to find some really cool things to do there. So that's good. And then I do a show called The Swing Clinic. And the reason we did the Swing Clinic was it was instructional and people were asking for more instruction on 18 holes with Natalie and I. But the show's only 22 minutes of content and 8 minutes of commercials, right? So there's not that much time. So we started to do a lot of instruction. So I'll use a lot of the golf influencers, the Instagram girls like Elise Lobb and Claire Hogle and all them. And they join me and we just try to do instruction out on the golf course, right? So the key to that is we want to show you how beautiful the golf course is while we're still out there. We're still promoting where we're at. But we'll show you different shots, right? Hitting a fairway bunker. What do I do in this fairway bunker? Ball's above my feet, So we try to provide as much of that. And it's kind of funny because to me, 18 holes is way harder to set up, way harder to do, and it's visually it's just more beautiful on television. But our ratings on the Swing Clinic are actually just as good, if not sometimes better, because people just suck up golf instruction, man.
Yeah.
They just love.
I'm one of them.
Hey, I will test. I will test. Yeah. Swing Clinic, pay attention. I'm a small product. I mean, you wouldn't always know that by watching me play, but Jimmy has helped me with my swing. We've played a few rounds of golf, and he has helped me, and he is tremendous. There's no question about it.
I keep it simple, man, right? Like I very much try. I'm pretty good at reading people, and if you're analytical and you're going to want to know why I'm telling you to do something, then I can tell that guy what he wants to do and what he wants to hear. Very many people, especially people that are watching it on TV, they just want it very simple, right? Mm-hmm. Like if I just do this one thing, it's going to help me get a little bit better. And so that's where I try to do a lot of things that keep it in that perspective. And that's been my success in teaching through the years of, being a PGA professional for, close to 30 years now. So,
well, you've got it covered with those 2 shows, 18 holes, it covers, a destination and an area that goes beyond the golf course, but does a ton of golf course coverage. And then Swing Clinic, that gets down into actual instruction when you're at the golf course. So those are 2 great shows that if you're not already checking it out like Aaron has, definitely look at it. It'll be in your local, regional, and national listings.
Yep, it's fun. It's fun. I'll tell you, our first shows of the year will air in end of April this year. Okay. And we did 2 of them in a celebrity shootout out in Vegas this year. So it's really cool. To me, it's fun. Like we got to do, we had Charles Woodson on the show and Urban Meyer and just Tim Brown, former Raider. We just had some great guests. Doug Flutie, which is really fun to watch play golf because he's as competitive as any human you ever met, So I'm very fortunate in that world too. I get to meet a lot of people, Marcus Allen is probably top 3 my favorite players of all time. And I walked up on that shoot when we were shooting that morning, and we were there early for the shoot, and Marcus was chipping. And I didn't even know it was Marcus. He's the only one on property. He's there 2.5 hours before the event. And I'm over there and I'm watching this guy chip. And I'm like, man, this guy's got pretty good action, right? Soft hands. And I look over and I'm like, holy, you know what? So I walk over and I'm like, man, Marcus, you got, because I talked to him, right? So I'm like, man, Marcus, you got good hands. And he's like, yeah, man, thanks. I work on it, blah, 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 whatever. And I said, this is the best like conversation breaker of all time. I'm just going to tell you when you're a guy. Hey, Marcus, do you know Natalie Golbus? Bam. You know, he's like, yeah. He goes, yeah, Natalie and I are good friends, man. I haven't seen her in a while. How's she doing? I said, well, I host a show with her, blah, 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 whatever. Oh, yeah, I've seen your show, blah, 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 whatever. So 30 minutes later, I'm on the range giving Marcus Allen a lesson, right? For an hour. Probably,
wow.
Right? So it's like, wow, this is tremendous, right? So
especially as a Raiders fan, too.
Yeah, that'll be fun for you guys, for people to see. Just, you know, people like to watch people that that are outside of golf playing, right? I agree. It's really helped the game a little bit that guys like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning and Steph Curry, they all play golf, right?
Yeah.
And my kids, you know, that are younger, you know, they don't care about, you know, Jack Nicklaus or Earl Palmer anymore. That's beyond. They watching their heroes, right? And their heroes are sometimes non-golfers, and these love the game, you know, which is really cool.
I like the ones that love the game that aren't quite as good as Marcus Allen. I mean, Tom Brady was, when they had that episode of The Match a couple years ago, and Tom Brady was shanking the ball and duffing it in the rain, you know, he looked miserable. I was like, dude, that is us. And then he hits that shot and spins it back into the hole, and that's how you get hooked.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, and then he was back. And I was like, man, that's us. You know, so that I love watching celebrities play too.
It's pretty cool. And they're really, I'll tell you, you're right. There's a big spectrum of good and bad in the celebrity world, right? Like, I don't know if you guys remember Marshall Faulk. Remember running back?
Yeah. Greatest show on turf.
Played golf. He was in Vegas during this thing. This dude I don't know what his handicap is, but if he says it's anything worse than a scratch, he's lying. He shouldn't be getting shot. Dude can play. Eric Dickerson, man, he can play golf. Like, these guys can really play golf. You know, it's fun. So it's fun to watch those guys. And again, with what I do, even tour players, right? If I'm walking up and down the range and I'm talking to somebody, like even tour players, they're like, if they think you can help them a little bit, they're like, hey, dude, come here, man. Come take a look at this really quick, right? Everybody wants it. Myself, if I thought I had somebody on the range who knew anything, I'm calling him over too. Just the game. It's a great game, man. I just love it.
Man, well, you've made a great career out of it, and it's we're excited to watch the new season of 18 Holes in the Swing Clinic. Let's jump into the world of golf on the professional scale. Recent news: Tiger Woods hosted a meeting with the rest of the player directors of the PGA Tour out in the Bahamas, where they play the Hero World Challenge, and the governor of the PIF, who owns LIV, Yasser, was there. And I think it was a rather surface level meeting, but was definitely, everybody came away with a positive outlook on things. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on what you thought that meeting represented, and if you think a deal, whatever the deal is going to be, is closer now because of a meeting like that between the PGA Tour and the PIF.
Yeah, so I talk about this a lot, right, on my radio show on ESPN and stuff, and it comes up, and there's always breaking and new things that are involved, right? So the worst thing that ever happened to this whole setup here is Jay Monahan and Greg Norman, right? And let me tell you, I grew up the biggest Greg Norman fan, right? And I am still a Greg Norman fan, right? The dude was just fun to watch play golf, a savvy business guy, and he's great. But the problem is Greg Norman has, an axe to grind a tour. He has an issue with they haven't done what he's wanted them to do throughout the years. Jay Monahan doesn't like Greg Norman, right? Probably for part of the reasons there. So when you take two guys that are making decisions for these big bodies, that there's personal involved in it, not just looking at it from a business standpoint, there's never going to be good decisions. It's just never going to happen, right? And that happened right out of the gate, right? And I will tell you, Phil Mickelson deserves an apology, right? Like, he exposed the PGA Tour in many ways and what they were doing and how they weren't doing it right or whatever. Did he do it exactly right? I don't know. Like, I'm not that tied into it. He could have probably went at it in a little softer way, but he didn't. But at the end of the day, he exposed them. And I think when we look at history 20 years back, I think most of us are going to sit there and say, man, Phil took the bullet, right? Mm-hmm. Phil took the bullet for, the last 5 years of his career where he could have probably still had a chance to win a major and still been very competitive, but took the bullet because he knew there needed to be a change in golf, right? And still, there'll be people that argue today that that's not the case. So, guys, I think when we look back at this 20 years from now, we're going to see that, the PGA Tour or the people that were involved with the PGA Tour and the world is going to owe Phil an apology, right? Like, he was correct. He was right in that there were some major issues with the tour, and there were things that were going on that just, it wasn't good for golf in the future. And so, now I know there's still a lot of people that probably disagree with that. They will argue with that. But again, I think when you look 20 years down the road, we look back, I think that's all going to change. And I think the other thing is, as you saw, I think you hear Rory talking about, he thinks the best players in the world should be on the same golf course, right? He's starting to soften up to it, which he was a hard stance. No, this is ridiculous. If those guys want to go, let them go, right? That's all changed. I think you see Tiger taking this meeting, right? Makes a big deal. That's a big deal, right? For Tiger to take this meeting and sit down and talk. And, I can't speak for them guys because I'm not in those meetings and there's not anybody that's really aware of exactly what's going on. But I have a feeling what's happening is they're sitting down with the Yasser and they're figuring out that, okay, like, what happens with a lot of this in this country and a lot of this, what we disagree with, has really nothing to do with what they're trying to do with golf, right? And maybe even this guy, I don't know the history of this guy, Yasser, but maybe he's not a bad guy, right? I don't know that. He could be a terrible guy, right? And I don't know that. But something's happening because all of a sudden this is getting softer, right? It's starting to blend together. At the end of the day, they're going to infuse $3 billion into the PGA Tour, and they're going to look for a way back for their players to be able to maybe potentially play in something. And it's for the good of golf. I tweeted out yesterday. I said, this leaderboard is atrocious, right? Mm-hmm. Thank God for Scotty Scheffler, right? Because if it wasn't, there's nothing to watch. Like, I follow golf on a weekly basis for a living, and there's guys on a leaderboard and I don't know who they are. That's not good for golf. That's not good for our kids that want to, we're trying to make them love the game and want to get into the game and want to watch it. And they don't even know who's on a leaderboard. How quick's that TV going to turn off or that phone going to turn off when they're watching it, right? And so whatever has to happen. And listen, again, at the end of the day, I wish I was in those meetings because I'm good at that stuff, but I'm not, right? So because I'm not in those meetings, I can't really tell you what's going on. But what I can tell you is not having Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Bryson DeChambeau, and John Rahm and Phil Mickelson, not having them in playing in tour events and against the best players in the world, against Scotty Scheffler and Jordan Spieth and Justin, it's bad for golf. It's just bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's very similar. If you want to sit there, let's just say that The Rock decides he's going to come out of pocket and he's going to steal the 7 or 8 of the best NFL players to go play on his new football endeavor, right? Bad for the game, man. Let's just say he paid $100 million to, whoever, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Devontae Adams. And, if he stole 7 or 8 guys, that dilutes the NFL product, right? And that's what's happening with golf right now. The product that we're watching on TV right now every week, it's diluted. It's not the best players in the world. And you can give me that blah, blah, blah. It gives the chance to the younger guys. And blah, blah, blah. Well, of course it does, because there's not as many good players. Mm-hmm. And younger guys are going to get a chance, but it's they're going to get a chance to play against the guys that aren't the best in the world. And that's just a fact. And it actually makes the Masters more exciting, I think, because you haven't seen these guys play against each other, and there might be a little bit of this going on a little bit. But at the end of the day, I want to turn on the TV every Sunday and have a chance to see John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, and Brooks Koepka going at it. Yeah. Just what I want to watch. It's the best. We don't So, and I'll leave it at this because this is kind of a hot topic for me. I get a little fired up, So, on Sunday afternoons or Saturday afternoons, right? They're not showing, the 0-12 team playing against the 3-9 team, right? They're showing the best. They put the best games on national television, right? Major League Baseball, it's usually, if you turn it on for, Sunday Night Baseball, it's usually the Yankees and the Angels or something like that. They're not showing, the Pirates and the Guardians. I hate to say that, right? Because at this time right now, they're not the best teams in baseball. Well, right now we're watching the Pirates and the Guardians on the PGA Tour, except for on some select events, and it just sucks because I love watching golf and I love watching the best players in golf. And right now they're not playing against each other except for 4 times a year.
Jimmy, have you found yourself like me, where I used to watch every tournament, loved it, watching the best players, but since the LIV PGA Tour split, I feel like I've become more of a casual golf watcher because I don't tune in every weekend like I used to. I saw your tweet that said about the field for this weekend's event, and I looked at the field and I probably won't even turn it on.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. And and believe me, it's not making the betting world happy, right? Because golf's a big betting sport, right? They like to go put $50 on somebody and watch them for the week and see if they can make them some money. Golf's fun to bet.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I think golf's the most fun sport to bet, right? Because you can bet it, you can live bet it, you can watch. Believe me, last week when I had Cam Young and I had who else did I have? I had Cam Young and Kashmir Keith, right? And they were both at the top of the leaderboard, right? And I'm fired up, and then Kashmir Keith just starts falling down the leaderboard. But I got Cam Young at the top. Then he's on 18 and he hooks it. And I got a cash out for like 400, but I could win 9. And I'm like, God, do I cash out right now? Right? Like, get in the woods, right? And who's to think Peter Malinati's going to come up and birdie 17, right? And it's just a great sport to bet. It's fun to watch. It gets your juices flowing in the middle, and it's great. But when you lose the talent, it just makes it less watchable. And listen, Peter Malinati's a great ambassador for the game of golf, right? Like he's good. He's good at what he does. He's good at representing the players. But at the end of the day, he's not, my son Palmer's 16. Peter Malinati's leading the tour event. He's not watching, right? He's not watching. Right? It's just not happening.
Yeah,
so
the casual fan isn't as interested.
And I got another news for you. If those 40 guys that are on LIV right now were in that event, he's not winning.
Yeah.
Right? It's not happening. That's a problem, And you could sit there and AT and I have a good buddy that says everybody on LIV's washed up and they're, blah, 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 whatever. And listen, I'm not even standing up for what LIV golf is, right? Because I don't love the shotgun starts, and the leaderboards are a little graphic-y for me, and they're all over the place. And you got to watch it on the CW, which is tough to find sometimes. So I'm not standing up for what they're doing. I'm just standing up for I want both guys on the same golf course at the same time. I don't care if you guys are running the event in Myrtle Beach, right? Doesn't matter to me. As long as the best guys are running it, you two can run a tour for all I care. I just want the best guys are playing. That's all I want.
Yeah, biggest names and best guys. I agree.
That's it. It's all I want. And I want to watch every Sunday. And I want to get fired up.
When this thing started, I think Phil left, and then Brooks Koepka was the biggest in his prime guy to leave. I think it was right before the Players' Championship, because Mike Tirico, who I love him as an announcer, but you just don't see him as much anymore since he left ESPN. But he came on and he said a lot of the things you said, Jimmy. He said, you can't question who the winners and losers are. I mean, the people that went to LIV are getting a big paycheck, and maybe the PGA Tour youngsters and unknowns will have an opportunity to become a star. That remains to be seen. But he said, I'll tell you who the losers are. The losers are the people that are watching, because they're not going to see the best product week in and week out. And it's going to get worse. And that was right at the beginning. I was like, I just don't think this is going to catch on. And now you got 40 LIV guys, and you've got, 2 diluted fields. I hope they get a deal done so that they get back on the course. I'm not somebody to be good in those meetings. I just want them to get it done.
I agree, man. And you know what, too, Ben, like what I see is like when I tweet something out, because people get all fired up over it, right? When I put it on social media, and like guys are like, well, dude, like I get it, Brooks and John Rahm, but like really Bryson DeChambeau, he wasn't a force on a PGA Tour. It's like, dude, you didn't watch that, right? Mm-hmm. The guy's won $30 million on the PGA Tour. You're going to tell me he wasn't any good? Like, shut your mouth. Like, don't tweet at me like that. You don't know what you're talking about, right? There's guys like Louis Oosthuizen that the dude was on the leaderboard of the Masters every time you turned it on
every
Thursday,
time.
Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Every time, right? There's guys out there that are second-tier guys that people are like, they're washed up. They're not washed up. They're great players that you'll see in major championships. So there's a lot. There might not be all 40 that would be a chance to win on a PGA Tour, but there's a solid 20 guys that could win on the tour every week that are currently playing on LIV. Right?
Yeah. Well, we will see. The power and the money got together in the Bahamas. I know it was surface level, but hopefully that is a sign of good things to come. Jimmy, thank you for your thoughts on that. And I know I could tell it fires you up, but it was a good question to ask you because you had some good content about it. Well, let's jump into, regardless of LIV and PGA Tour, my favorite professional week of the year is coming up, Masters Week. I'm praying for some good weather, whether the weather's good or bad. I know it's going to be green and beautiful there.
Tuesday practice round for me.
Aaron's go to practice
Tuesday
round.
practice round tickets, yeah.
Are you going, Jimmy?
I'm not going this year. I've been there a lot, and I love it. And it's just so great. It's a tough time for me because this is when we get hopping golf-wise. Mm-hmm. Golf course opens up, that kind of stuff. So I haven't been there in a few years since COVID. But it's just if you're listening right now, or you're watching right now, like if you can get your hands on a practice round ticket, or you just got to do it at least once in your life, mm-hmm. right? It's just so incredible. It's a golfer's dream. Everything about it. Everybody's so excited to be there. I mean, it's so good. And I'm glad you're going on Tuesday, Aaron. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's the best week in sports, in my opinion. I just love it.
I've been for two other. I've actually been for tournament rounds 2 other times. So this will be the first time I've gone for a practice round, which I hear is just way more relaxed as far as getting around the course. And like I don't think you can take your phone in, but I know you can take it. You're allowed to take a camera in, I believe, to take pictures for practice rounds. So I'm excited.
Yeah, you're gonna have a great time.
It's the merchandise shop that's going to get me.
They'll ship that stuff right back home for you, buddy. You don't have to carry it around.
Done it before. I know what to do.
Well, the field's going to be nice and deep. And I've got some I'd like to get everyone's thoughts on, one favorite and one sleeper pick. And we'll start with the favorites and then we'll end with the sleepers. And I'll start with mine. My favorite pick is going to be... Here's a guy that finished, he's only had 2 Masters starts, finished in 2nd and 6th, and then was not healthy last year. I'll take Will Zalatoris.
Whoa.
He's putting better. It's still an ugly stroke, but it's a lot better than it was. I think he's somebody that the course, he loves it, and it seems to love him with a top 2 and a top 10 finish. So that'll be my favorite.
That's a name I haven't heard for a while. Yeah. I haven't heard that name for a while.
He's flirted with some leaderboards this year.
Yeah, well, I think he struggled with some back issues.
He should have won about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, 3-4 weeks ago. He should have won for sure. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I know he's had some back issues. So, and well, maybe he's been off filming Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah, he's going to be. I've
heard
right?
that's coming out. I don't know. Yeah,
he's going to be in it.
Yeah,
and Tiger's going to be Chubbs' son.
Yeah,
and Paige Spranik's going to be the love interest, I think.
Supposedly that's out there. Well, but the originals, you got to have Shooter and you got to have Happy.
Oh, they're going to be.
They'll be. Yeah, but I got a kick out of that when I saw his name on there. So,
who's your favorite?
My favorite, you got to go with the guy with the hot hand right now, Scheffler.
Yeah,
I mean the guy's on fire. I mean he's won the last 2 biggest tournaments, last 2 elevated events. Yeah. And I really think his, at least in my opinion, Jimmy, and you can agree or disagree with me, but I thought his play on Sunday at the Players was phenomenal. Just because he has had a few tournaments where he slipped back, that he started out well and then kind of felt, falling back a little bit, but he really seemed to have it all together. and his putter has been that's always been kind of his issue in a lot of these tournaments. And if his putter's on, I don't think anybody can beat him.
Yeah, and it's been on.
Well, I think with Scotty, the deal with Scotty is that he's the one guy that's rooting for LIV and PGA Tour to stay separate, right? Because he's just going to blow them out, right? There isn't anybody in his class. He's going to put Tiger-type numbers up here pretty soon with career, wins and everything like that because he's the best, right? Until you infuse some of these guys from LIV that are on that level, right? And so, I don't think there's anybody that can compete with him. But I actually, this week, I like Jon Rahm, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason I like Jon Rahm is because I do think that Jon Rahm has a little bit of buyer's remorse going to LIV from a standpoint that, he's a savvy guy. He loves the history of the game. Couldn't pass up the money, and I don't blame him at all. But I think he misses the heat of the Players' Championship. I think he misses it's not quite as the hot competition at LIV. It's just a more relaxed atmosphere. I don't think that fits his personality right as much. I totally think he was right to take the money. It's an incredible amount of money that his great grandkids are set for the rest of their lives, right? Mm-hmm. But I think he misses that. So I think he's got 4 opportunities this year to prove that he is still the best player in the world. And I think he's going to prepare himself and be ready to do that, right? And before this all happened, between him and Scotty, they were the best 2 players in the world. And, Ryder Cup wise, I think he showed that he might be a little better, right? Mm-hmm. Especially when Scotty's putter's not going, right? So I love Jon Rahm to win back-to-back. I love him to win again. And he just, again, I think that I'm so glad that Augusta allows these guys to play and all the major championships allow these guys to play because it's so exciting to see the best players on the world, same golf course, here in about a week and a half.
Yeah.
So.
Have we not, last repeat was Tiger, right? 01, 02, or was there another one?
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So that's, that would be from a betting standpoint, my only, unless you want to go law of averages and we're due. I'll go with it there, but yeah, that's a good pick. He's a fiery competitor, and when you get that kind of money, and it's already designed to be relaxed, I think he is missing those competitive juices, and I think they'll come out in Augusta soon. Jimmy, who you got as a sleeper pick that may be under people's radar that's got a shot?
Well, I'm going to give you a couple, even though you only want one. I'm going to give you a couple. One would be this young kid, Ludwig Vadberg, right? Oh yeah. I mean, he's got all the skills. He is comfortable as you could absolutely be on the golf course. He's phenomenal, right? I mean, he's got everything. The question will be, it's Augusta, right? Can you figure it out? Because he can hit the shots and he can roll the ball and he can do everything that you want to do. And the funny thing is, guys, in fact, I forget last time I looked, but his odds weren't that great for a guy like that. He was like in the top 10 in odds. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, this kid has never won before right here. He's never won.
He's never even played, has he? He's never played Augusta, has he?
No, I don't. I think it's his first time he's ever played. So I think that's one that's interesting. Kind of sucks. I think Wyndham Clark's hurt right now. He's a guy that you would really like this week because he was just, it was just coming together for him pretty good. But I'll give you my best long shot. This guy plays great there. The only thing that you don't know and I don't know is how hard's he working at it right now, because he is a guy that took the money and seemed to just kind of have fun with his buddies. Cam Smith, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Cam Smith owns Augusta when he's on his game, right? He plays as good as anybody there. Last time I looked, I think he was, plus 460, 4,600, to win, bet 100, win 4,600. Like, that's an insane amount. He used to be, before he went to LIV, he was, probably plus 800 or something like that, right? So you just don't know where he's at. But if he's secretly been working a little harder, man, he's awesome there, right? He's top 5 guaranteed there. Yeah. So that's the guy I like. That, man, that's, if you're going to throw a few pennies, he's a guy that I don't think it's a waste of money.
When he was, he and Scotty were trading blows, that the Masters, that he almost walked away with it. You could see his game, but I tell you, that final round at St. Andrews that was some of the best golf I've ever seen, because I don't think Rory could have played any better. Oh. And I used to, Rory's A game is almost unbeatable. Yeah. And it got beat that day. It really did, because I just that was when Cam Smith, to me, I was like, this guy, he's a top 5 player in the world, just stamped.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your sleeper pick?
I tell you what, my sleeper, somebody, and Jimmy, I don't know, do you watch Full Swing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I just finished the second season last week, and my sleeper is somebody that I'm going to pull very hard for, because I just think he's the most likable guy that is on that series, is Tom Kim. I love that guy, man. He is just so likable. And of course, when he had his PGA incident last year in the PGA Championship, where he fell in the mud and had to get cleaned up, I didn't really know him that well at the time, and I still can't believe Tide hasn't given him a sponsorship. But
right.
I think I put him as my sleeper, because he did finish under par last year. And it wasn't great. He wasn't too consistent, but I think he finished at like 2 under last year. And I got to watch some of that in full swing. And like I said, just because he's a good guy, I like to see the good guys win, Yeah,
he's super talented, man. He's a super talented player. And, I think after I watch Full Swing, I bet him that next week, because I like him. But, absolutely. He's a young stud for sure.
My sleeper pick, he's sort of in form, but he had a top 10 finish last year, and he's as likable, I think, as Tom Kim. I'll go with Sahith Theegala.
Oh, yeah, I like him.
Mean, he's super likable. I think if he's somebody that can have a nice Thursday or Friday, he's going to have a great backing coming into the weekend. And I think that's a guy that kind of eats that up, the support. So that would be my sleeper pick. And I think somebody that, I know sleeper picks you don't really pick as deserving people, but I think he's somebody that kind of deserves a shining moment. And so that would be my sleeper pick.
Yeah, I like that pick.
Yeah, he's fun to root for, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you a couple guys that I would stay off of if I were you guys,
sure.
Like from a standpoint of that stuff. You got to stay as far away from Tony Finau as you can stay right now, because he's got putter problems. You even watch that putter go back right now, and it looks like, it looks like AT after a weekend with his Pittsburgh boys down there. It's drawing the name. It doesn't look good at all.
A little shaky.
Yeah, a little shaky. And Justin Thomas, I love him, man. I've got to actually I gave a clinic with him at Firestone. His dad was a Pittsburgh guy who worked at Montour Heights Country Club for a while. I'm a big fan of the whole family. PGA pro all the way down to grandfather, who was the PGA pro at Zanesville in Ohio here for a long time, but it's just not there right now, right? And you want it. Justin's the kind of guy you almost force it, like you want it to be there. Mm-hmm. But his struggles were a little deeper than we thought before that Ryder Cup, and he was able to scrape it out and not embarrass himself and not play bad, but he just is not able to find it, especially under pressure right now. So it stinks. Those two guys are two guys 2 years ago that were tops, right? I mean, Finau and Justin Thomas had to be in your top 10 for sure. And both of them just seem like they're fluttering a little bit right now.
Yeah. I mean, for JT to have an 8 on, something in the 80s, that's recently, that's tough going into Augusta. So he's definitely not in form, and he hadn't been in form.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be, and I mean, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he has played very well at the Masters over the years either. I don't think it's been like his best tournament. He's done better at the other majors, but I don't think the Masters has been like his go-to.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player, and he's going to find it, but it's just not there for him right now. And his buddy Tiger, they're buddies, right? They're tight. And Tiger's not out there playing right now, so that changes his world a little bit.
Yeah.
And his buddy Jordan Spieth isn't playing very good either. So,
well, Jimmy, what do you think about both of those buddies? What do you think about how their performance chances at Augusta, both Tiger and Jordan? Those are two guys that could play that course with their eyes closed, but what kind of form are they going to be in?
Yeah, not good. Tiger, it's good if Tiger finishes 4 rounds these days. I love him. I love Tiger. He's been so good to the game of golf, and it's just a shame. I mean, listen, I remember when Casey Martin wanted to take a card out because of his – and listen, Casey Martin is the golf coach at Oregon now and the nicest human being you ever meet. And I was so against it, right? I was like, you can't do that. Like walking golf is part of the everything, right? It's blah, 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 whatever. And now I sit here and I'm the same guy 25 years later. And I'm like, man, I'd give Tiger a cart right now if he could get around for 4 rounds and play. Like he's so fun to watch and you just want to watch him do what he does. And he can't do it because he can't walk 72 holes, you know? And it's, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that it's ever going to change, guys. I mean, you know, maybe he's, you know, still around during the Champions Tour and he can ride a cart when he's 50 and he might light it up again. But I just have never seen him comfortable walking 72 holes since the accident, right? Yeah. So how do you play good golf if you're in pain, right? I just don't see it happen as much as I would give anything to let it happen. And Jordan Spieth just isn't there right now, right? Jordan Spieth's a very streaky player, guys, right? He's a guy that he'll find it again, and he may even dominate golf for a short period again when he does find it. But he just, you know, he hits that driver, it goes crooked, he blocks it right. That putter goes sideways from a short putts every once in a while, and it's just not there right now. And he's not the kind of guy to me that's going to pop up out of nowhere and play good. He's either playing good or he doesn't play good, and that's what I see out of him, and I just don't see it from either of those guys, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unfortunately, I couldn't agree more with takes on both of them. So we'll see if they surprise us. We'll all be pleasantly surprised, but not likely. And you know, add them to the stay away from list with Tony and JT from a betting standpoint.
Oh, I think just having Tiger out there is, I mean, for me as a fan, is plenty. I mean, we all want more out of him, but you know what? The guy almost never played golf again. So hey, he gets to still walk Augusta National. That's a win.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. For sure. Absolutely.
Well, Jimmy, we don't let anybody leave the show until we wrap up with our namesake, which is teed off. So we tell a story or something about the game of golf in general that grinds our gears a bit. And
preferably nothing I've been a part of when we've played golf, Jimmy.
This is going. A few people are going to see this, so if there's anything incriminating, let's change their names. But I'll kick mine off. So I don't play as much golf as I'd like to down here. We're busy selling it. But I am a member of the surf club here, and so this is more of and not the surf club, but more of a private club standpoint, because I understand public play, the ranges are out there and they're stacking the carts up on 1 and 10. They got to get play going and pace going. But at a private club, you know, I don't like, you know, showing up for my tee time and I'm timely and punctual and a couple carts drive in front of me and sit on the tee. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, you know that you're 14 minutes behind my time. Like, we're not racing off the first tee. So that grinds my gears just a little bit because we're not going anywhere.
You don't like to tee off with a gallery?
I don't like teeing off with a gallery, no. I do not. So,
see, I'm more of a hold my beer, watch this kind of person, so it doesn't bother me.
No, not me. So but just in general, just to drive around and park in front as if like I'm wasted time or something. I was like, man, we hadn't even started. So that teased me off a little bit. Aaron, what teased you off?
It's funny because mine's the exact opposite. I was before we started talking to you here today, Jimmy, I was telling a story. One of my friends, I was playing in an outing on Wednesday, and as we're sitting there waiting for him to show up, I looked at the guy that had put everything together, and I said, "Well, look, man," I said, "You realize?" I said, "You just need to send everybody involved one email." And I won't name this person, but you need to send him a separate email 20 minutes earlier than the time you sent us. And I said, he'll be here on time. I said, there's nothing worse for me than waiting for a friend or one of your foursome or somebody in your group to show up for your tee time. And chances are you were out just as late as they were the night before, you know? Yeah. So I don't like holding everybody else up because you do get that, you start getting a crowd, you know?
Yeah, that's not good. I mean, if you're not punctual or someone in your group's not punctual, I think it's even worse if you're the punctual one and someone else isn't.
And for the love of God,
because you're getting the heat.
If you are the late one, just put your shoes on, get in the cart and go. Don't go in the clubhouse and get a sandwich or a coffee or whatever else you need.
You missed that opportunity.
Yeah, so it's just get in the cart and go.
Yeah. And and if that person's listening, you know who we're talking about. He's now been this is your second.
This is the second time he's been on Teed Off, and I haven't named him, but he knows who he is.
Wow.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Jimmy, what you got?
For me, all right, I'm going to give you two quick ones. First one would be as an instructor, right? So when people play golf with me, they're always asking me, like, what do I need to do? What do I need to fix? Which I love, dude. I literally would rather fix somebody and them play a good round of golf than me play a good round of golf. I've played my fair share of good golf now. I'm good with it, right? But then when I give somebody something and they hit a couple bad shots and they're like, well, this just doesn't feel good, right? Like, this doesn't feel right, doesn't feel good. Well, yeah, it doesn't feel good because you've been doing it wrong for 25 years, right? It's not going to feel good because it's different than what you've done. But trust me when I tell you, I've been watching you play the first 7 holes. You won different, right? Because what you got going right now is not good, right? So I get that a lot, right? I get that, like, somebody wants help, you give them something to fix it, and if it doesn't fix the next shot, then it's wrong, or it's I can't do this, or I can't do whatever, right? And it's like, put no work in, you just think there's some magic thing that we're going to change in 1 second and it's going to make your golf game completely better. So that's probably, as an instructor, that's my hardest thing. It's like, God, do I even want to go down the road of fixing this guy? Because it's, he's going to tell me that I messed him up. It's like, well, you were messed up before. Trust me, if I had a camera to show you the last 7 holes, right? So that, I think that's pretty good. And then I think sometimes for me, I play different. I think golf is 2 different types of golf, right? There's golf where you're out there just to enjoy the camaraderie and the fun with your friends. Like, we go out there and we play and we have a good time. AT and I have a buddy that, the beverage cart girl shows up. He takes 2 holes off, right? I don't even see him. Beverage cart girl shows up on 9. He starts playing again on like 12, So, and I'm good with that, right? Because that's the style and type of golf that you're playing. And then you play sometimes where it's a little more competitive. You might have some games going on, some playing, whatever. But that person in the group that doesn't accept one or the other, like when you're having a nice, enjoyable round with your buddies and you're just playing, you're kicking back 5-footers because you're just out there, and they're in there and they're like grinding it out and like trying to figure it out. It's like, dude, we're just having a good ride. We're not playing for anything. We're just having a good time. Then on the opposite side of that, when you're out there and you got some bets going or whatever, and you got the guy that's playing bad, so he wants to make it, here's a 7-footer back, kind of a thing. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, read the moment, right? Read what you're in and stay with what you're in. Because I truly believe there's both, and both are fun, but you got to stay in the right one.
Those are great. We've had a couple instructor type teed offs that are very similar to that one before. But we've not had one about knowing your place, knowing your group, because you got to have both with golf. I think even the pros, I mean, they're grinding it out on television, but when they go on vacation, they're having a nice fun round.
Yep.
And we see it on Instagram and stuff like that. So you gotta you want to do both when you're playing golf, because I think both are fun, but know the situation.
For sure. Yeah. Like, I have a 16-year-old son that started playing just like a couple years ago, and he's a really good athlete, but he didn't play golf, right? And so now he's starting to play. If I went out there and grinded it out every time I played with him and didn't even pay attention to him and just focused on every shot, he wouldn't want to play golf, right? He'd be like, this sucks. Spending time with my dad. He didn't even talk to me, right? He's over there grinding out a 3-footer, right? So you got to read the room a little bit and see what it is and try to stay within that, I think, anyway, because you're going to run into both.
I agree.
I'm definitely the latter. I'm the take it easy and have fun while you're playing. So because as he mentioned, our friend, I'm usually the one driving our cart, so I'm lagging behind, waiting on him. So,
well, Jimmy, it's been really great to have you on the show. Really appreciate your insights on the world of golf and Masters preview. Of course, teed off, but then telling your history on how you got into the sport, which is just a great story, and then how it's become this great dream job. I mean, it really is. I'm envious of what you guys are doing, and I admire it. So, guys, check out 18 Holes and the Swing Clinic with Jimmy Hanlin. Jimmy, thanks so much for being on, and hope to see you down here at Myrtle Beach sometime soon.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. It's fun, and hopefully I get down to Myrtle and see you boys as soon as possible. I love it down there.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, we're ready for you, man. Just let me know when you want to come.
Awesome. Thanks, fellas.
All right.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jimmy. We'll talk soon,
man.
Yep. Sounds good.
Planning an unforgettable Myrtle Beach golf getaway has never been easier with mbgolf.com. At mbgolf.com, we give you the power of choice in pairing world-class golf with premium options from golf course villas to oceanfront condominiums, brought to you by Condo World, the leaders in Myrtle Beach luxury travel. Make your next stay and play journey to the golf capital of the world the experience of a lifetime. It's all just a call or a click away.
The Back Nine.
Okay, the Back Nine. Wow, what a great conversation with Jimmy Hanlin.
Jimmy's the best, man. I've known him for a number of years, and if you want to talk golf, hands down one of the greatest people you can talk to.
Yeah, he was calling you AT, so is that what he calls you?
Yeah, I got some friends that's just my nickname. I don't know. Maybe it might be hard to say my name or something. It could be maybe they just had too much to drink. I don't know. But AT just flows for him.
Keep you slightly anonymous, AT.
Yeah. So him and some other friends, they've called me AT for a number of years, which I don't mind it. I like it. So.
How long have you known Jimmy?
Oh, Jimmy. I feel like I have known Jimmy, what is this, 2024? 10 years now?
Wow.
Something like that, at least. Yeah, I'd say sounds about right. It could be longer, but that sounds about right. He basically is a mutual friend that I became friends with. He started doing some stuff with some friends of mine from Pittsburgh that he referred to, and they actually brought him down to Myrtle Beach. And then they had some stuff they were doing, but we all ended up hanging out and playing golf, and just the four of us together. It is a great time, a dangerous time, but it's a great time. It's a lot of fun.
Well, much appreciated getting him on the show, and Jimmy, thanks again. And that's going to be a great segment of the show. I can't wait for people to see it.
Yeah.
To bring it back to Myrtle Beach, which Jimmy gave a great plug on Myrtle Beach golf, and I couldn't agree more with the things he said. The spring is just about to really kick off, Aaron.
Yes, we have been busy. Obviously, we're getting into April because the Masters just around the corner, so becomes the busiest month of the year for golf in Myrtle, and we're certainly seeing it. Obviously, groups already booked, coming in, getting everything ready to come in. Things are, knock on wood. Weather has been very good for us. We've had a few rainy days, but those rainy days have not impacted golf. We actually were told this past week that there was going to be a rain out for one of the days. Everybody got their golf in. We actually got the rain over the evening, which worked out great for the golf courses too. Everything's been going great, very smooth for spring golf. So looking forward to continue that way.
Yeah, looking forward to some great weather, and the courses I drive past on the way to work, nothing but green. So I cannot wait to have the golfers down here. There are still some tee times left, not many.
Yeah.
So get to mbgolf.com now if you want to book a spring package, because availability on the course and availability in the rooms are very limited.
April tee times, yes, very limited right now, especially the further we get into April. So, hopefully you already got your tee times. You might be able to find some extras, but, definitely book them with us.
And if you're thinking about fall, go ahead and start thinking about it too, because I've seen some some October rounds booked the last couple weeks.
Yeah, we've been booking. It seems like every year the fall bookings start earlier and earlier. As I was even saying to myself, this early in the year, like in January is when is typically our spring booking period. We already had some October stuff that people were calling, inquiring about, and October has been booking like wildfire. But don't get me wrong. If you want to come in the fall, I love spring golf in Myrtle. I personally think fall is the greatest time for golf in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
The weather.
You can't beat it.
No, it is. I think it is really the greatest time. So if you want to do a trip, do fall, because there is availability right now. Get it while it's there.
Get it while it's there. Go to mbgolf.com to learn more about all of our packages and accommodations that we offer. Aaron, what is the package of the episode?
So I'm actually, I'm going to say Barefoot. And the reason I say, because Jimmy actually mentioned when he was talking about so many great courses down here in the area, all 4 courses, Barefoot are ranked, high as far as the Myrtle Beach area goes. They're in the top all the time. A couple are nationally. I know the Dye and the Love course get national ranks and a lot of golf course rankings. But you can play. They've got a number of packages you can play. The most popular one is when you play the 4 rounds, they do a 25% discount off of all 4 rounds. So essentially, you are getting a free round by playing all 4 courses. It is, it's a great location for Barefoot to play. All 4 courses are great. If you stay, you're staying with us. Any of our Condo World condos here are close drive, so they're easy to get to. Fantastic facilities. Driving range, putting green.
One of the best facilities around.
Yeah.
I mean, not just in Myrtle Beach. It's fantastic, and they'll shuttle you from the range to the tee.
Yeah, food and beverage, too. I mean, they got great food and beverage there. One of the things that I really like is they have a cabana that is there. So when you get there at your bag drop and you go in, check in, there's a cabana that sits outside that they have open during the spring and fall months, and it's a full service bar and grill. Hamburgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, things like that. But you can sit there after your round on a nice evening. My friends we were talking about earlier from Pittsburgh, we've gone over there and just hung out, not even played golf. We just gone to the cabana and hung out when it's open. Yeah. And it had drinks and a little bite to eat or something.
I love it.
It's a great little spot. And, like I said, you're getting 4 of the best courses in the area. When
they do it right at Barefoot Resort. And the 4 courses, they have the names Love, Fazio, Norman, and Dye for a reason. They designed them. Mm-hmm. And they're all different. And they're all beautiful, and they all have their own challenges and benefits. What's your favorite course?
I like the Norman myself. Everybody has their own opinion on what the best course is there. I mean, they're all great, but for me, I think it's more of an aesthetics thing for me, because I like that the Norman kind of weaves around the Intercoastal Waterway and you get some really nice views while you're playing. So
I like the Norman. I love the Fazio. Mm-hmm. I think the layout's the best. I would say the Norman's more picturesque. Mm-hmm. And then the Love's got the ruins, which are amazing. And the Dye is, a typical Pete Dye beauty as well. It just doesn't agree with my game. It's just that would be the most difficult to me, would be the Dye course. But it's a fantastic course.
It is. It's phenomenal. It kicks my butt every time I play it. Yeah. But I love all 4 courses. But just from if you're not having a so good round, Norman, because I can at least look out at the waterway and some boats going by or something.
Some happy people down there.
Yeah, it's actually at least somebody's having a good time.
Well, think about the great Barefoot courses and the Barefoot package when you're booking your next MB Golf vacation. To pair that with great accommodations, Jimmy mentioned the AshWorth, where he stayed when they shot 18 holes. So that's right on the ocean front off of Main Street in North Myrtle Beach. They've got 2, 3, and 4 bedroom condos. They're gorgeous, huge floor plans, fully equipped kitchens, washers and dryers in the condo, private balconies. The golfers love the AshWorth, Aaron.
Yeah, they do. Location, right off of Main Street, as you said. You're a short walk to a number of restaurants, bars, attractions that are right there off of Main Street. Yeah. So you can't beat the location. And as we mentioned with Barefoot, the package, it's not even a 10-minute drive from there to the Barefoot courses. So I bet if you timed it, it's like 7 minutes.
Yeah, and you could be less if you get some green lights.
If you don't hit any red lights, you'll be there faster.
But it's just 2 roads, up Main Street and down 17, and you're there.
Yeah.
So definitely consider the AshWorth when you're booking your barefoot package with mbgolf.com.
Yep.
Well, Aaron, this wraps up another great episode of Teed Off. Big thanks again to Jimmy Hanlin. Thank you for getting him on the show. That was awesome. Make sure you guys visit mbgolf.com to book your golf package. There's some left in the spring, and start thinking about the fall package now. And thank you, everyone, for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Thanks for listening to Teed Off. Visit mbgolf.com and follow us on Instagram at Teed Off Podcast for the latest episodes and news.